We're gonna have one more party, one more special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more party tonight.
Hello everyone, and welcome to number one, the start of our large painting that we're going to tackle over the series of the next, I don't really know how long, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks maybe even. They'll be broken up into hour-long videos, and of course you can watch them back to back if you're feeling brave, or you can watch one and get up to date with that, then watch number two. I'll put them on YouTube a week apart to give you plenty of time to catch up to where we are. So I think that's it. Welcome to Miss Paint-A-Lot Acrylic Challenge, let's call it. Large challenge. Okay, so this is the painting. This is the picture of the painting, should I say, that we're going to do. And I got this from a site called Photo Reference for Artists on Facebook. It's a really handy resource, and all of the pictures are royalty free, copyright free. You can use them as you wish. So this is the one that I chose. We're going to simplify it somewhat, so as everybody has a chance to follow along. Everyone at the end will have a completed piece that hopefully they're quite proud of, me included. You will see that the picture, although I have expanded it, there is a video on YouTube as to how to expand your pictures to the size that you want. I've expanded this to the 20-inch width, which is the same as the canvas, but that then gave me not enough width for the canvas that I had. So I've got a blank piece up here and a blank piece down there, but I think we'll be all right because I'll make the wall go up higher here, and I'll make this path come down lower. So I think we'll be okay. You will notice on this photograph that this is stonework. It looks like sandstone, maybe to me. But that's quite difficult to do, and I don't think that we're necessarily all at that stage where we can put the stones in. So I've got another way of doing that, which is much easier and looks really nice as well. Some of the stones that we will have to put in, however, is this lintel above the door, which is a solid piece of stone, and these, I don't know what they're called, door jambs, whatever they're called down here, which are once again, well, they're not solid, split there, but they are solid stone. The window has a lintel above it and below it, so they will get painted in as stone. But today, let's see if we can get the background put in, find out where we are and where we're going to go from there. Now then, the first thing to say is that I have gessoed, well, Mr. Handyman has gessoed my canvas board 3 times, so it's good to go. My picture I've printed out, I've Pritt sticked it together, so it's, I've picked up some white paint from somewhere. Yeah. This is the problem with these big ones, they're quite unwieldy really. And the other thing that I've done is I've stuck it with masking tape down this side, edge to edge, stuck it with masking tape, so I now have a hinge that it will always be in the same place, which is quite useful when you get further on into details.
Would it be better to hinge it the other way so you're not on the palette, of course, but...
I'm left-handed, so everything I do goes that way. I did think about it and I thought, no, I can't be doing with it that way. So the next thing that we need is some Surral transfer paper. For those of you that follow me, you'll have seen me talk about this before. It's called Surral, and I know in the States you have a thing called Saran wrap. This is very different, and it's Surral, S-A-R-A-L. Wax-free, acid-free transfer paper. This is called a sampler because you get 5 A4 pieces in it, different colours: white, graphite, blue, yellow and red. You can buy it, enormous lengths of it on a roll. I can't see that you'd ever get through that in your life, to be honest, because you can use and reuse these so many times. But I've got two different colours here, so it's going to look slightly odd, but I just want to really take note of where the door is, where these stones are, the lentils, etc., as we've discussed, where the steps come, and where this path comes in, which I'm going to have to extend myself out to there, and same with the window, etc. So I'm not going to bother with the flower pots, they come afterwards. We need the wall in first. So let's pop that under there, and hopefully that will give us enough for the door. It needs to be just a little bit to there. Right, so you need a sharp pencil and just transfer around the things that you want, which in our case is the door and these stone lentils. There's up here, there's, I think it's a CCTV camera. That doesn't fit with my romantic image of this lovely, what I think is a Mediterranean doorway. So it's not going in, it's staying out. So let's just draw these in anyway. It's not very clear where they go, so I'm just going to draw that straight across. It's a lintel, not a lintel. I turned it into a vegan. And it's hard to see where the lines are actually. I think that's it down there, across to there, and then that comes straight down. Just pretend that flower pot isn't there. I think I'm running out of, I've still got a little bit. We'll just do the inside. Yeah, I'll just do the inside of the door when I'm here. Not that it has any bearing on the background, but I'm here, so I'll just pop it in. That's a step along there, step there, this comes out. Just take your time with this, it's worth taking your time with it. I'm definitely off the transfer paper there, so I'll have to put another piece in. So this down here, blimey, where is it? Well, there's a bit of it there, so it must come down here. If you're not very good at drawing straight lines, which time will tell if I am or not, use a ruler. Use a ruler. The other thing that I have that I use is a T-square. This is a rather large one, and as such is quite unwieldy, but you just can't do it that way because of the paint. You just put it on the edge of your board like that, square up that, and then you can mark inches, centimetres, or draw a straight line. So that's something that I wouldn't get one this size, to be honest. I think probably an A3 one would be good. They didn't have an A3 one the day I went shopping. So we've got all of that in. We need this. I'm going to have to move this paper down and across, I think, the transfer paper. Maybe put it in that way. This is when it would be nicer to have larger pieces or a whole roll of transfer paper, but we'll survive. So this line here for where the path goes, I want to put in, and this the bottom of this step. This involves a bit of perspective, but we're tracing this. We don't need to, that doesn't need to come into our minds at all. you can see, however, that it's going away from us.
It's on a hill.
It's on a hill. So I'll carry on with this line here. Which goes through there. And then I need to carry that on. And thankfully it's not coming out right on the corner. I really didn't want it to come out on the corner because it would look contrived. So we are making a bit of headway. Next thing to do is the window. Next and last thing, I think, is the window. So this comes up here, along here. Don't get sidetracked with any of the flowers or anything like that. There's a drain coming down there which I'm going to ignore as well. And I think the lintel is in about the middle of that drain, to be honest. The shutter, which is lovely. Shutters are lovely, aren't they? I wish I had a house that had shutters on. Or that needed shutters, should I say, which would mean it would be somewhere warm. So I'm just going to draw around those, just to give us a clue where they are. This is the top of the window. This is the bottom of the window. This is our other shutter. These don't need to be really exact at this point. In fact, they don't really need to be exact, full stop. It's an old building, obviously. This needs to be sort of level with that one, so I'll bring that down to there. And then across there. So I think that's pretty much all that we need to transfer, really. Let's have a look and see what we've got. So this is our doorway. I've forgotten to put the other side of the door in, but that at the moment that isn't important. This is our window, this is our path. That's all we need to know at this moment in time. So that was fairly straightforward, wasn't it? Right, next thing to do. Have I forgotten to put the end of that in? Is that the end there?
I think you ran out of paper, I think.
No, that sticks out further than the other one. Yeah, that sticks out further. Don't be tempted to draw on your canvas with the pencil. You'll never get rid of it. It keeps showing up through the paint, and it'll be the bane of your life. Right. Okay. I think we're sorted to put the first coat on.
You put the left-hand side of the door in.
No, because it doesn't really matter. I just want the background in at the moment, and if we get brave, we can put the path in as well. Okay, so the background I have used, will use the Snellier Abstract Acrylics, and it's called Titan Buff. It's a bit of a strange name, really. I know it as Titanium Buff, but that's what it is in here, and it is a kind of off-white colour, and it's a colour that you could achieve yourself if you don't have this at home. Just use a lot of white and a little bit of yellow ochre, and you'll get that colour. And the other colour that I'm using is, in fact, yellow ochre. So what I've done is, I've put some out here on the palette. I've mixed them up very, very roughly. In fact, I'm just going to put another little bit of Titanium Buff on here. I've mixed them up roughly, not so they're not just one homologous colour. Is that right? Homologous. Yeah. Jeez, get me, huh?
You and your fancy words.
I know. Right, so that's as much mixed as we want. Always wipe your mixing knife up. because the paint sticks on it, and then should you ever want to use it for painting with you, it'll be ruined. So get yourself a big wash brush. These are called flats because the top of them is flat and they lie flat. If they were cut to about there, they'd be called brights. Don't know why, that's just the way it is. And the next thing to do is to get yourself a water mister. These are invaluable. I couldn't, you know, you will need one of these for your painting career. And start spraying your canvas where you're going to put in the background. So I've sprayed it to about there. This is run, don't worry about it. Load your brush up, one side, two sides, try and get a bit of several colours. And now we're going to put the background in by literally crisscrossing. This blends colours, but you'll still be left with a slightly mixed colour for the background, which is what we're aiming for. Just go over those lines that you've put in. Got slightly too much water on here, but we'll soon get rid of that, soon dry. So crisscross as you go. I can go back over this because it's I've got so much water on it. Now that's quite a dark bit, that's fine. The wall does have dark and light bits in it. Crisscross it like that and you won't be left with a great lump of it. Don't worry about going over the lines for your door, jam, etc. This is quite a light colour. We can easily paint over that. The reason I've just put it in is to give me some idea. I mean, there's no point doing all of this section when it's going to be a door. So crisscross, crisscross. You get a nice background there. Can you see the bits that aren't quite white and aren't quite yellow ochre? They're nicely mixed together and give us a bit of texture before we even begin, which is good, because that's what we need for this wall. We need texture, and we're not putting the stones in because that's just, well, it's just too difficult, and it's not necessary. We can get a very nice effect with this.
Stucco in the wall.
Stucco. Stucco is a thing. You can buy stucco from the art shop. And it's thick and it takes ages to dry, but it does give a very nice effect. I mean, if you're feeling brave, stucco the wall. Let me know how you get on. But this is going to give the impression of stucco. Well, it's just not. See, I think that's quite a nice, I think that's quite nice. Quite quick. Looks alright on the camera, I think. So just spray a bit more. Load your brush. I've got a nice bit of yellow ochre over there which I want to get hold of. Crisscross the. You see how quickly we're covering this really large canvas. Whereas if we were doing the stonework, we'd be here till Christmas. And it's March at the moment, in case you're not watching it live. That's a nice darker bit up there. And we've got this bit more paint required. You need paint on your brush. I know it sounds ridiculous, I know, but if you're going to go painting, you need paint on your brush. And when we begin, we all think, oh no, I'm not going to put that much paint on. What happens if it doesn't work out and I've wasted that paint? You won't get a good finish unless you put plenty of paint on your brush, so you won't get a good result. So use plenty of paint. It makes it easier, the whole thing. So what have you been up to today then, Mr. Handyman? Out and out? Nothing?
Been varnishing today.
Been varnishing?
Varnishing some of your pictures today, ready for sale.
That's good. Do they have one coat or two?
Two.
Two coats.
2 coats of I think Winsor and Newton semi-gloss varnish.
Alright. Do you have to leave it long between coats?
I leave it normally can about 2 hours.
Alright.
It's still tacky after that time, and you need to leave it overnight to dry, to be fully dry.
After the second coat, you mean?
Yeah,
Right.
but you can recoat after about 2 hours.
It's not too bad then. It's quite smelly though, isn't it?
It's quite smelly. You need to do it in a well ventilated area. You wouldn't want to do it in your lounge, for instance.
No.
But it does bring the pictures to life.
Yeah, it does
brightens
actually,
them all
doesn't
up.
it? It does
Yeah.
brighten them.
And it'll certainly make them last longer.
Yeah,
Easier to just wipe the dust off
yeah,
if it's been sealed.
yeah, sure.
Of course, you don't want to over varnish if you've got any texture on there, because it'll just end up like a glossy tile if you
Yeah,
over
that's right, look like
varnish.
enamel then, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to preserve that texture, you don't want to overdo it. I mean, spraying is certainly preferable, I think, to
brushing it on.
brushing it on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that.
But of course, like all things, the sprays are dearer than the liquid.
Yeah.
But I think you could probably put it through an airbrush or a spray gun if you so desired.
I've got a hair on here somewhere. So I'm still crisscrossing my way around this wall, and I think you can see that it looks fairly effective. I've got darker patches, lighter patches, nice dark patch down in here, which I think there's plant pots and stuff to sit in there, so that'll look quite nice. And I've just got this very top corner to do.
What I'll do with the next video is put the reference picture on,
Ah, yeah.
so you can see.
See where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good idea. We need to put a copy of this picture somewhere for people to be able to trace, use it as a tracer. Should we put it on Facebook?
That'd be the best place if you go to Facebook, Miss Acrylic Paint-A-Lots group. You'll find it on there.
Okay. So then they can save it in their own photos and put it in Excel and put it in any size, get it to any size they want.
Yeah, enlarge it or reduce it to whatever size suits their canvas.
So there we go. I think I'm quite pleased with that. There is a part 2 and possibly a part 3 to get in texture on this, but I just need to leave this to dry, otherwise it's going to end in a bit of a mess. I've got hairs here appearing from somewhere. Maybe the dog, maybe the cat, maybe me. So I'm just going to disappear for a little while, dry that off, and come back and we'll put some more texture on it. See? Hi, welcome back. Right, the background of the background is now dry, and we're going to move on to putting some texture onto that. If you have a look at the original, it's stone blocks. I'm not going to do that. It's just it's too complicated for us at this stage. But I am going to pick the colours out from the stone blocks, which is a grey, our background colour, and little speckles of white on it. So those are the colours that I'm going to use. We've obviously already got the ochre in the background, so I'm going to use grey and white. And the tool that I'm going to employ to do this is a sponge. Now I'm sure you've all done it at school if nowhere else, but you can buy them in the art shops. This little packet here came as a pack of 5. I think they're about £3-4, something like that. So you can get these little ones, and they have very, very fine texture detail on them. If you want to know what they do, soak them in water first of all, dip them in some paint, put them on some waste paper, and because they all give a different pattern, and sometimes it's a specific pattern that you're after. So the other pack that I got was this pack of larger ones. There was 3 in that pack, and they're much looser, much coarser.
They're all natural sponges.
Yeah, they are natural sponges, yeah. So the colours that I'm going to use, as I say, are grey and a little bit of white, which I'm going to mix up. And same as we did with the ochre, I'm not going to mix it up too well. I don't want a regular sort of pattern coming out of it. So we'll leave it like that for a minute. I've already dipped this in water, so it's quite damp, but not dripping at all. Really squeeze it out in a towel, and then just dip your sponge into the paint. You don't want too much on it. I mean that's fine. It's very, very light covering, and then just keep turning it as you put it on, because the sponge will have a pattern, and you don't want that to be repeated over and over again. So some areas you might want darker, some lighter. It's a very quick way of giving us a really nice texture. I might come over some of these areas with some white, just to add a little bit more depth to it. But I think you'll agree that this gives a nice texture without it being so tedious as drawing in all the stonework, and it still looks nice. So we'll finish this off, and then we'll work out whether we think it needs a darker colour, a lighter colour. I just need to mix a little bit more of this. Because every time you mix it, you get a different mix, which is quite nice. Make sure that you haven't overloaded your sponge, because if you have, you won't get this nice texture or get a blob. So if you think you have overloaded it, just rub it off on dab it on your palette several times, or a piece of paper or whatever. Yeah, I've got a bit more on there than I had the last time. So I'll just whiz over that bit again. As I say, keep turning it. I mean, this has ended up in the window lintel, but that's fine. We're going to paint over that, so don't worry. You don't have to paint within the lines, not yet. As I say, this goes behind a lot of plant pots and stuff here. But we want to put the background on first, then we can advance to the foreground. A little bit more on there. There's also shading that goes on here, under the window, behind the shutters. There's quite a lot that we'll pay attention to once we've got the background on and we're happy with it. I've got quite a large blob there. If that does happen and you're really not happy with it, go back into your mix that you used for your background, pick that up with your sponge and go back into it, and it'll just kind of magically disappear. I might do that with that section there. As I say, keep turning your sponge. I'm not used to having such a big canvas on this table. It would probably be easier on an easel standing up looking at it, but not so easy to photograph. So this is what we're doing. And we're doing all right, I think. We're doing okay. We're doing okay, Mr. Handyman?
Looks good to me.
Well, that's all I ever need to hear.
But then I've got an appointment with the opticians next week.
Yeah, that's true, actually. So you don't want it even all the way across. You want some... Let's have a look at that on camera. What's that look like? Yeah, I think that's okay. I think I might just go in with a bit of white. I've still got some grey underneath this, but it's going to be a lighter colour than we've just done. See what that looks like. I think might be quite nice. Pick up a bit of this. Well, what's now a lighter grey, really. Just add a bit of additional texture. We want depth. That's what we're looking for. We want some depth.
You only achieve that by layering.
Yeah, layer. It's true. Does that section there look like? Yeah, it looks quite nice. Dip your sponge and... Oh, that's quite heavy, that. Yeah, there's Bobby joining in. Croft is on the television, so I've got to put it on for him later when it comes on, and he can look out for a lady. Okay, so I think there's some sections that I need to go probably back into with the yellow ochre. So just using the same sponge, I'm just going to dip into it. Looks like it's dried up a little bit. Just cheer it up with a little spritz of water. Let's pick some of that up. It's still largely grey, this. Hmm? Sorry?
It looks good.
I think we've got a heavier section down here, but I'm not overly concerned about that because we've got a plant growing up here. We've got the shadow of the shutter, etc. I don't think that's acceptable. Is there any areas I've missed out, Mr. H? Maybe here, actually. So yeah, just build it up, build it up. I mean, if you wanted to put a raw umber on, a brown onto that, feel free. I'm just basically teaching you the techniques. You can go on and on, layering and layering, if you want to. And each time that you put a layer on, it'll add more depth, it'll look more real. It's just a matter of time, really. But if you've got plenty of time, I think maybe a nice dark brown over this would look quite nice. I'm quite happy with that, I think. It's amazing when you do this, you think that it's the be all and end all, you know. Oh, I've got to get it right, every little bit's got to be perfect. Once you've got everything on this, your door, your window, your path, your flowers, your plant pots, you really don't see this. It's amazing. It just recedes into the background, which is good. That's what you hope will happen. Okay, now then the next thing to do is the path. Now, could we have the big picture on? Yeah, now then you'll see down in the left hand corner there where the path starts, and it's kind of like a crazy paving type job. That is not what it's going to be on on my painting. I mean, if you want to do it, if you've got the time and you want to do it, it would be lovely. You know, it would be truly authentic. But on mine, it's not going to be, and I'll show you what I'm going to put on it now. There is quite an area on here of shadow, but we're going to ignore that as well for the time being. We'll come back to that. We'll deal with that. Basically, all we want is just this. So let's just make sure that we've got it something like straight. Maybe not so straight. I'll just draw that in with a white piece of white chalk. Pastel. These are pastel pencils, Derwent pastel. They come in a set of 12, I think, and it's good to have a set of 12 because then you've got whichever colour you need to draw on top of different colours that you're painting on.
Don't use graphite pencils.
Don't use graphite. The paint just doesn't cover it, and no matter what you do, you will have a graphite line forever and a day, and you won't be happy. Right, so that's it. I can just about see that. So I'm going to make mine. I'm going to pick out this grey, which is pretty similar to, in fact, the same as the grey that we put on the wall, and I'm literally going to paint it. If I had a paintbrush. So we use the same brush as we used for the walls, a nice big flat, holds plenty of paint, gets the job done quickly. I've rinsed it out and I'm drying it on the towel. You don't want your brush to be carrying loads of water, but you do want it to be damp. I'll take my spritzer bottle again and I'll just spritz where I'm going. I'll use this grey and this white, which is exactly what we used in the on the wall. Can you hear Bobby? Oh dear, sorry. I think it's the thought of Crufts that he's getting excited about finding a lady or looking at the ladies. So just use the edge of your brush to go along there. This is called the chisel of your brush. Load your brush well. Hold it up on end like that, and that's called the chisel end. And just follow your pastel line across, and you get a nice straight edge. Now, I'm not worried about this being different colours or not being different colours particularly. We're going to add some texture to it as well, although it would be nice if it wasn't just flat. Chisel edge again up under that step. These will be having shadows put in them, so you know, if you really botch it up and you're not going straight, don't worry, it really doesn't matter. This is the background and it will be covered. Just another little bit of water on the brush, it's a bit dry. Running out of paint here, guys. Put some more down. This is Sennelier again. This is a neutral grey. It's just a very grey. You can mix grey. Black and white mix grey. You do not need to buy grey. I did, because I wanted the full set. So just mix them on your brush. A nice mottled effect, like that. So far so good, eh? There's nothing here that would frighten anybody, I don't think. You know, any mistakes you make, if you really can't live with them, paint it out and start again. It's only acrylic paint. It is expensive, so you wouldn't want to be starting again. And you feel kind of bad. But, oh, bits of fluffiness. So yeah, that's looking alright, I think. I don't know what this fluffy business is. Oh, maybe it came out my sponges. So,
Yeah.
once again, mix it on your brush. Go along the edge. Give yourself an edge to work to. It goes up there. It's just slightly above the step. Now I've got hair coming out my brush, for heaven's sake. Bit of crisscrossy business. And blend it smooth. So I'm getting down to this corner now. I'm left-handed, I find this quite difficult to do this side. If you're using gallery wrapped canvas or canvas boards like I am, don't forget that you need to do the sides, and it's quite a good time to do the sides when you're actually doing the background. You've got the right colour on your brush. Saves having to mix it up again. I'm going to have to move this, guys, because it's just the wrong hand for me.
Yeah, you need to paint the sides because when you come to hang it on the wall, you'll have a very white, bright line round the sides, which...
You will, and 10 to 1 on, it won't be all bright and white because you'll have gone over it at some stage.
Exactly.
So I'm just going to do the bottom of here, but now I've got this grey out. So if somebody's hanging this in the dining room and they're sitting around the dining room table and look up, they're not going to see this horrible bright.
Obviously on that artboard it's quite thin, but if you're using a gallery wrap, it could be anything up to an inch.
Well, it could, yeah.
Or an inch and a half deep.
Yeah.
Which is a very white area.
And some of those little box, you know, like the little box gallery wrap things that you get, you know, that stand up.
Yeah.
I mean, they're quite deep, aren't they? They're about an inch and a half.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing this now, and I should have done the sides and whatever. I'll do that before we meet again. So we're good to go. Right, so that's the background of the...
If you're not sure what a gallery wrap is.
Yeah, this is a gallery wrap, guys. It's where the canvas goes right round onto a wooden frame, and there can be, this is about half an inch I'd say, but it can be up to an inch and a half wide. And even with this, can you imagine hanging that on your wall and you've got this white, it just looks unfinished, looks unprofessional. So paint it in when you're doing the rest of your things. And I mean, you don't have to follow, you know, religiously. If you've got a little bit of a plant here, it doesn't have to come over. Just get the feeling of it round there so as it's not going to jar on anybody's eye. Thanks, Mr. H. Right, so what we are going to do now, while you're there, Mr. H, you haven't got a big piece of paper, have you, that I can put there?
To make a line.
Yeah, I could use kitchen towel. Shall I use kitchen towel?
I get a big bit of paper, you bear with.
Oh yes, it's a big bit of paper. So what we're going to do is put that down there, which should be something like square, because we did. And then we're going to flick some paint on, yes, thank you. And for that we're going to use a fan brush.
Or Pollock it.
Yeah, we're going to Jackson Pollock it. No, he was
Polish
more
it
about,
up.
he was more about drips. Yeah, drips, wasn't he? So I've mixed here in this little plastic palette some purple, some grey, and it's beginning to set, so I'll just add some more water to that. That's the kind of colour it is there. Maybe needs a little bit more grey in that. It's amazing actually when you look at grey things, including clouds, how much purple there is in things, isn't it? It's amazing.
And yellow.
And yellow, yeah. So get your brush nicely loaded up. This fan brush or a toothbrush is really good for this sort of thing. And then hold it like this, well back from the business end, and just give it a couple of pats off like that over your waste paper, and then we'll start on the here. I'm wondering if this is too watery. Time will tell. I think it might be. You really do need to load this up. It's everybody has their own way of doing this. This usually works quite well, but I don't usually use this brush. I usually use an older fan brush. So just keep tapping it. If you have another paintbrush, you can tap it against a paintbrush.
And some people use a very stiff brush, even an old toothbrush.
Yeah, toothbrush
Get the paint on a toothbrush and flick it with your finger across the top.
Yeah. Always remember to cover up the area that you don't want it on, because even with toothbrushes, the splatter goes quite a long way. Splatter, that was the word I was looking for. So that's that. I think I'm also going to put some white on it, because there is white when you look at the picture. So I've just got a bit of white in there and just add a load of water. It's going to be a very, very dirty, a dirty white. That's fine. There we are. Load your brush up. Just get rid of the excess, the real excess on the waste, and then come back over it. And that starts to look like gravel, really, I guess.
Concrete.
Concrete, yeah. Yeah, concrete does actually, doesn't it?
Yeah. Of course, you could make the road anything you want. You could have crazy paving, cobbles,
Yeah.
make it grass if you want.
Yeah, anything at all. It's your painting. It's yours. You know, I'm not going to come round and say, you've put grass on there. There was no grass on the original. I can tell you, I can promise you now, I'm not coming round.
Yeah. As long as you've been to the post office and brought your artist's licence, you'll be fine.
What? I missed that one completely. Went right over my head.
It's called artistic licence.
Thanks.
Thanks. It's never funny when you have to explain it.
So, what's that look like? Is that enough?
It's looking good to me.
Right, let's take this off then and see what we've got. Yeah, I think when that's dried, it's hard to say actually, because it's still, the big blobs are still so wet. But I think when it's dried, I think we'll be okay and it'll look like gravel. If not, you know what we do? We just come back and we put some more on.
You want to dry it?
I don't want to dry it with a dryer because I think that'll chase them
It'll
and I'll
probably
end
blow
up
it
with
across.
runs. I just want to leave them to dry as is. And what I would say to you guys is that I think we have achieved the background. all I can do is reiterate, if you want to add more depth to this, put in something like burnt umber. It's a nice brown, it would give you some nice brown shades. I'll see how I feel about that. I might do that before we meet again. But have a little trial, get yourself a little bit of paper going. Put your base coat on, put your sponges on, see how you feel about a bit of raw umber. It might be just, it might be nice because it might pick up on this door, which would be good. The path, I think I'm going to be happy with that. It's going to have a lot of shade work done in it, and I think it'll look fine. So there we are, we'll leave it at that. That's lesson 1. Quite a short one, I think, probably. See if you can, whatever size you're doing, that's fine. Whatever colours you want to use in your background, it's fine. But see if you can get up to this sort of stage for the next lesson, and then we'll move on from there, doing some of the, well, the door and the window actually. Oh, that's a nice bit of grey I've just added to that. Yeah, the door and the window I think are next. So catch you for the second lesson very soon. Enjoy doing this. Bye, thanks for joining.
Me and the boys were sitting around drinking, we was talking about things that we was thinking, when all of a sudden what comes out of Bill's mouth? Said I'm getting old and fat and slow, and I don't recover like I did before from nights of rabble, rousing and too much fun. Well, I looked around and we all agreed, and I had a drink and I ordered 3, and I staggered back to do it all again. Then we made an oath on a rum and coke with the best intention, I'm sure you know, that we would stop this living in excess. We're gonna have one more party, one more special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more party tonight.